Open almost any introductory economics textbook, and you will find the same origin story. It usually starts with two people attempting a basic transaction. One has a fish, the other has firewood. But without a common currency, they hit the logistical friction of a direct physical trade. Economists call this the double coincidence of wants. Adam Smith theorized that if a butcher wants bread, but the baker only wants beer, their mismatched needs create a structural impasse. Without a third commodity to bridge the gap, the division of labor grinds to a halt. To solve this, classical theory suggests rational individuals spontaneously agreed to adopt a universally desired commodity, like gold or silver, to act as a medium of exchange. In this view, money was a technological innovation designed to make the marketplace run smoother. This worldview, known as metalism, assumes private, decentralized trade organically predates the existence of the state. It frames the economy as a pre-political sphere, where individuals traded before governments ever issued coins. However, a century of ethnographic research has failed to locate a single community that relied on a localized barter system for its survival. The historical record suggests the textbook timeline of barter, then money, then credit runs in reverse. Look at the scale of this longhouse. It belonged to the Haudenosaunee, an advanced society that operated for centuries without any currency or internal barter. Individual wealth accumulation held no place in their internal economy. Land was stewarded collectively by clan mothers, and all agricultural output was pooled in communal storehouses. Resource allocation was entirely a matter of kinship and shared risk, rather than a series of spot transactions between neighbors. When they interacted with external groups, they used formalized gift-giving to secure alliances. They frequently exchanged items like this beaded wampum belt to strictly record diplomatic ties and ensure mutual dependence over time. Survival in these societies was predicated on mutual aid. Providing for a neighbor created an abstract social debt, a web of reciprocal obligations that bound the community together. In this context, a mathematically precise zero-sum barter transaction was culturally alien. These are the sprawling ruins of the Uruk ziggurat in ancient Mesopotamia. To find the true actual genesis of abstract money, we must look deeply inside these massive ancient temple bureaucracies. These institutions functioned as the ancient world's administrative hubs, managing thousands of workers and immense quantities of grain. Tracking these colossal resources required a standardized mathematical system of accounting. This tablet functions as an ancient spreadsheet. Accountants used these ledgers to invent money as a virtual unit, establishing equivalency between silver and barley. Physical silver rarely circulated. The ledger quantified agricultural debts, which carried interest, multiplying naturally like livestock. This is the chartalist theory of money. It suggests that money was born as a top-down, coercive tool of state administration and tax enforcement. It was an instrument of institutional power, not an organic outgrowth of the marketplace. If humans didn't start with barter, why do we see it happening in the historical record? These allied prisoners of war provide an answer. They found themselves in an environment where their usual currency was suddenly absent. Having been raised in modern markets, these prisoners found direct barter inefficient. They quickly improvised, elevating cigarettes into a universal unit of account to standardize the price of everything in the camp. They didn't just invent the concept of money, they simply applied their existing knowledge to a new commodity. We see the same pattern in modern crises. This was the scene in Argentina in 2001, after the government froze bank deposits. When currency vanished, the public turned to barter networks to survive. Even in these desperate clubs, people immediately recreated paper money, like these printed tickets. They used them as an abstract unit of account to make the exchanges function. Barter serves as a fallback strategy in the absence of a functional currency. It typically appears among people who already understand how money works, but can no longer access it. It is the ghost of a collapsed system. If the evidence is so clear, why does Adam Smith's fiction still dominate modern economic education? The myth is necessary to justify the concept of Homo economicus, the theoretical assumption that humans are biologically driven to be transactional, self-interested calculators. This narrative frames the market as a natural phenomenon that precedes the state. If the rules of the market are natural laws, then the extraction of wealth and the resulting inequalities are seen as inevitable outcomes rather than the result of specific legal and political choices. But we know that ancient states recognized these inequalities were institutional. Because agricultural debts grew exponentially, while crop yields grew slowly, farmers frequently faced ruin. To prevent societal collapse, kings used monuments like the Black Stele of Hammurabi to announce debt jubilees, periodically wiping the ledgers clean. Because money and debt are social constructs, units of account designed by human institutions, we have the agency to redefine them. History shows that these systems have always been capable of being reshaped to prevent systemic crisis. If money is a creature of the law rather than a law of nature, then the economy is a democratic concern. By moving past the myth of the primitive marketplace, we can begin to see our financial systems as tools that can be democratically restructured to prioritize social bonds over the mechanics of extraction.